give your hand to me, then you say hello. I can hardly speak, my heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well, but you don't know me.
There are more than 120,000 people of all ages with Parkinson's disease in the United Kingdom. Approximately 1 in 7 are diagnosed under 40 years old. The disease is named after Dr. James Parkinson, who established the condition in the early part of the last century. It's a progressive brain disorder affecting walking, talking, writing and swallowing, in fact all the activities of daily and nightly living, and as yet there is no cure. Treatment is by drug therapy complemented by physiotherapy, speech and occupational therapy, as well as support for the carers, families and friends of people with Parkinson's disease. 25 years ago, Molly Jenkins, whose sister had Parkinson's, founded the Parkinson's Disease Society. It's a registered charity existing to help all people with Parkinson's, their families and friends.
Our campaign is to launch new initiatives in welfare to explore new ways of providing care for patients with Parkinson's disease in the community.
The real reason which makes me work even harder is the fact that it affects so many people in this country. It is not just the people who have Parkinson's disease whose lives have been affected by it. It's their families, it's their friends.
I have a personal interest, and I suppose most people who get deeply involved with the PDS do have a personal reason. And the reason in this case was the fact that first my wife's mother and then her father both developed Parkinson's disease in different ways. And when I saw what it did to them, it made me absolutely adamant to try and do something to help people who, not only them, but people who are in a similar position.
The Society's mission is the conquest of Parkinson's disease and the alleviation of the suffering and distress it causes, through effective research, education, welfare and communication. More than £1.5 million is spent on medical research each year.
There's an increasing amount of research into Parkinson's disease going on both in the United Kingdom and around the rest of the world, Europe and the United States. Most of it is designed to try and find out what is the cause of Parkinson's disease, because despite almost 100 years of scientific endeavour, we still don't know exactly what is responsible for this malady.
It would be quite impossible to do any of our work without the help of sufferers of Parkinson's disease and their families. We are entirely 100% dependent on those people.
For the first time in my research career, I saw a real problem to work on. I saw people who couldn't move, people whose lives were being ruined by this disorder, and that has spurred me on ever since to research into this area and really to try and make at least some impression on the quality of life that these individuals have.
Whilst the search for the cause and cure of Parkinson's disease continues, the Society must be aware of improving the quality of life of the people who daily live with this condition.
We have a fine welfare department where we provide information on the benefits. We have a welfare counsellor, and we have a helpline which is manned by the volunteers. We run holidays. But I guess the most important area of the whole welfare programme is trying to set up the projects.
Typical of these pioneering welfare projects is the development of models of respite care.
It's been a major project. The Lifespan Healthcare have worked very closely with the Parkinson's Disease Society, and it's raised awareness about the disease amongst the staff in the hospital.
There's the provision of specialist residential care, initially in the Midlands, but with similar centres planned for elsewhere in the UK.
Often we find that people with Parkinson's disease are lumped into the overall category of either younger people with physical disability or indeed as elderly and aged people, when in fact the reality is that people with Parkinson's disease have very special and very personal needs. And this is why this particular facility is so exciting. It's the very first, and it's the start of what we believe is going to be a national network, working in association with the Parkinson's Disease Society.
The PDS helpline, manned by volunteers, provides a listening ear for people with Parkinson's disease.
When people have got the medical information that they require, and perhaps the initial support that they need ongoing support. A kind friend, really, to telephone and say, "Hello, how are you today?" Or perhaps the person concerned needs to telephone and to say, "It's me again, and it's the same problem, but I do need to tell you all over again."
We've come across clients who have had no information about the disease. They've been diagnosed with a particular disease and they don't know anything about the disease. They don't know what it really means and how it's going to affect them and their families in the future. So it's very important that link workers are employed to provide this sort of information.
Very often concerns centred upon employment, in particular whether or not the condition itself might bring effects to bear on their ability to do the job, and very often a principal concern is the employer's attitude to them and their work.
The Parkinson's Disease Nurse Specialist Project has been achieved with the no-strings-attached help of major pharmaceutical companies.
Well, we all have the ultimate aim, really, to help the patient manage their condition as best as possible. The condition really to be part of them, not them part of the condition, that they remain in control.
The aim of the Society's education and information programme is to create a better understanding of Parkinson's disease and the needs of those who live with it. Education and information is provided across the board for professionals, volunteers, carers and branches.
There is a great number of services which really can help people. They don't need repeat prescriptions on their own. They need to be supported by speech therapists, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, dietitians.
The Society has always emphasised the important role of physical therapies in conjunction with medication for the management of Parkinson's disease.